For me, it came end of 2020. We've just gone through a bad year, COVID. I was kicked out of leadership group that year as well. Sort of went away, a bit of self-reflection. What do you want to get out of your career? For me, it was, can I be the best defensive player? So day one of pre-season, I came back basically wanting to tackle, wanting to hurt my teammates, wanting to really set the tone with that's how I want to be now.
Oppo is really clear. Let's start again from zero, yeah? Let's establish our game. We're being ruthless in the contest and playing our way.
Warner needs support. He's caught by Merritt.
We've been very explicit that we want an Essendon edge. And I think all Essendon people who have followed our club for a long period of time know what an Essendon edge looks like.
I like the fact they're trying to stand for something. I look at Essendon teams for the best part of 15 or 20 years. I think, none of their teams, they really put the fear of God in you.
One that's really hard to coach is when they're hesitating and they're in between.
Take him out!
So just make a decision and go with it.
You'd love to see them start to play in the vein of their coach. Brad Scott was a street fighter.
Huge collision.
I'm an Essendon fan sitting watching that at home, but I like seeing that. And I thought that, to a man, that they all bought into the physicality.
Langford, that's why you keep him in the forward line.
I think it's just going to be a theme throughout the whole year, not just for the game on the weekend. It's been a focus throughout the whole pre-season to really come out in the opening quarter and really take it up to the opposition in the opening bounce and set the tone in that regard.
And Durham this time is able to take full tile, and look how pumped up he is.
It is a contact sport and we aspire to be a good team. I would say we're not where we want to be right at the moment, but to be a good team, you've got to be fierce in the contest and you've got to have maximum effort, and that's our focus.
Well, as the sirens ring out around Marvel Stadium, it was a bold and considered move, wasn't it, by Brad Scott to publicly declare the Essendon edge, and now they have to live up to it. We saw it last week against the Sydney Swans. Peter Wright, of course, was suspended in all of that, but they take on St Kilda this afternoon, two teams that are 1-1. Both teams very familiar with playing here. The Saints got them last year at the MCG as the Bombers celebrated game 150. Their two small forwards, Butler and Higgins, kicked 4 goals each on that occasion. The Bombers won the previous 2 here at Marvel Stadium as the two captains meet in the middle, Jason and Kingy, and it's a big crowd. And it's with both teams at 1-on-1. There's a lot of teams that haven't even had a victory so far this year. 6, in fact, right at the moment in round 3. So early wins are so important.
Yep, it's a great opportunity to get ahead of the ledger, and it's a twofold challenge for the Bombers. I mean, they scored 100 points against Sydney last week, but they're coming up against the best defence in the business. Conversely, they conceded 130 last week, and the Saints are really moving the ball well, so they've got to work at both ends.
There was the emotion last Thursday night with St Kilda with Spud's game, and didn't they play so well in the spotlight against Collingwood, and they are wearing black armbands this afternoon to pay tribute to their former president, Andrew Plimpton, who sadly passed away at the age of just 74. Last weekend, Andrew was the president between 1993 and 2000, and he oversaw a number of really significant moves, including the move out to Waverley, which financially helped the club and its stability. A great sports person involved at high-level yachting, and just a great character, Jason, as well.
Yeah, he was.
He'll be really sadly missed, so condolences go out to the Plimpton family.
And I love the way clubs are so good at recognising those that have been great contributors at the football club, and certainly Andrew is an important part of that.
He loved his Saint, as did Andrew Plimpton, the press. All right, let's get into the game, Kingy, and who are you tipping? I want to ask a really sort of boring, obvious question.
I love what the Saints have been able to do in the back half of last year, and have started this year really strong. So I think their ball movement's a big challenge for Essendon to curtail this afternoon.
What do you think, Jace?
It's hard to go past the Saints, but I think we might get a really good clash today. I think there's a big stage set here for the Bombers, a big crowd. They need to make a statement, see what they can produce against a good side here.
We're both with some significant outs, but quite a bit of experience added to this Essendon lineup as we get underway. And Draper wins the tap over Marshall. They are going with the 2 rucks again. We saw it last week. And Windhager and Steele getting early hands on the ball. And Hill, all important prime movers, it seems, for the Saints. Membry's going to be a key focus with no Max King this afternoon. And obviously no Peter Wright at the other end. Up and under from Hill. Had to hold and wait for a moment. And Caminiti, who is the replacement for Max King, he was very steadfast.
Well, we just spoke about it, Kingy. Take the opportunity when it presents. The great strength of the body. He just protected where the ball was coming. Used his right arm just to work his opponent off the ball. That was a little too easy in the end. Can he go back and finish? This would be the perfect start for the Saints and the perfect start for this young man. Rossi Lyon actually said he's unlucky not to be in the mix. It's just unfortunate the way they've got so many tools up forward.
Yeah, we saw him last year make an impact, particularly in the first 5 or 6 weeks of the year. Got suspended over in Adelaide in gather round and probably wasn't quite the same after that, and he misfires there for a behind. But he did kick 19 goals in 18 games and was able to get, as I said, a couple of nice multiple goal kicking games early in the season.
Yeah, he hit half a dozen last year, which is a pretty good effort for a man added to the list start of February.
Jones is the target out there. He was the late in for Setterfield. Couldn't grab it. Durham with the contract extension, and Darcy Parish, part of that experience, added to the Essendon lineup this afternoon. Merritt right back in defence. The Bombers are giving up ground and putting themselves in potentially vulnerable situation there.
Yeah, but they'll take that. He realised his best option there was just to hold the ball, accept the tackle and get the stoppage, Zach Merritt.
Draper in the right spot, but couldn't capitalise. Ross feeds the handball out. Owens back to Higgins. He kicked 4 last year against the Bombers, and he has continued that form on. Hasn't missed a beat.
We talk about selfishness and unselfishness in football. Everyone was reading the hand pass to the player running outside once Higgins got the ball. You'll see the player to the right of screen, and that's where all the Bombers players are going, and he knows if he steps back into the corridor, 2 things: he gets rid of all those chases, but also he's in the middle of the ground, the easiest place to kick the goal from, on his natural foot. It was actually a really smart move from Jack Higgins. That's what you want your small forwards to do.
4 last week, Kingy.
Yeah, he's a goal-kicking machine. The smother's huge. The amount of scoring that comes from smothers in our game is quite frightening. Yes, that's what Seb Ross is all about. The 1%ers for this team. It was a great start. Put pressure on the Bombers immediately.
Great celebration for Seb Ross last week, of course, in his 200th. That was not a very high bounce in the middle with the thud, but Saints try to go forward again. Filippo got bowled over, and you saw Martin working in with Redmond, who returns to the lineup this afternoon, working in conjunction with McGrath and Merritt, and Redmond again. That express pace just creates a bit of space for Corbell. They link the handballs all the way to the end, and it comes to a very sudden conclusion with the turnover. Now it's Marshall. Wobbled it forward. Oh, the Bombers really not in the same wavelength there. Redmond and Heppel. Owens has a quick glance to the inside. Back to Higgins, who was able to show terrific poise and feeds the ball into Sinclair.
But this is what Ross Lyon teams are famous for, the switch from defending to then attacking and vice versa. As soon as they won that ball back on the wing, they were gone. They'd taken off. Snuck from the corridor there, Steele to lay the tackle, and just look at them explode forward. Higgins, of course, gets inside 50 quicker than most, but he had some teammates.
So Jack Sinclair returning from injury last week. He's elevated himself to a top liner in the last 4 years, and he delivers St Kilda's second goal. And the Bombers haven't had a look in really in the front half.
No, it's a shame. I mean, Bombers fans were just starting to get excited. Here's this exciting surge movement forward, running in numbers, but it's one good tackle that creates the turnover, and then you're exposed the other way. There it is, the Jack Steele tackle, and then bang. Didn't panic here, Rowan Marshall, when he got it. He knew he was about to be shut down, so he just shoots the ball forward. And then once they take possession, it's a matter of pick and choose who you want to spot up in the forward 50. They had the numbers. Too many Bombers had run forward, which is what you want when they're attacking. They've got to do that. They've just got to have better ball security.
The speed of the Saints is on show very early this afternoon.
When they met early last year, St Kilda jumped them and kicked 5 goals 4-0 at the start last year for Essendon, fought back gradually. They certainly won't want to allow the Saints to get away to that sort of advantage. At least they get some numbers around the ball here to force a contest in the middle. But Ross, again, it's all one-way traffic until Heppel steps in. Alberti just got uncomfortable. I think the kick was actually designed for this man, Martin, who very boldly went the interior kick. Sinclair doesn't capitalise, and Mackay takes the intercept mark.
That's a let-off. They just need a little bit of composure with their possession at the moment. They're not getting it.
Instead, Merritt just pulls the trigger. And a big kick through the middle. And Ross.
Jack Sinclair can't believe he didn't have the shot at goal.
Oh, Owens. What a player he is. He's a unique player, isn't he, with what he can do, Kingy?
Yeah, he is. He's a bit of everything. But I'll tell you what he is. He's a contested possession winner and a great contested mark. He's got such a bright future, this young man. Let's have a look at that. Not many in our competition can do that.
22 disposals last week. Second highest tally of his young career. And he also hit the scoreboard last year, over a goal a game. Part of this young band of talented St Kilda players. Not the connection he would have liked, and not the representation really either for St Kilda. Just in case, they were all pretty confident he could make the distance. Martin, slightly more moderate speed this time for the Bombers. And a better exit. As Goldstein on the ground and takes the mark. Draper's stayed out there. Caldwell, can they get it down to Draper, who's calling for it? Hobbs does just that. Durham fired the handball out to McGrath, who's way up in the forward 50, so they pressed right up hard there, the Bombers. Mackay will gather, and then what? A handball along the line. Martin, as they do try and sort things out in a slightly more considered fashion. Again, they're going through Goldstein. Redmond takes the territory on offer. Searching kick for Langford. Stocker has him covered.
The matchup for Langford is Wilkie this afternoon. Fantastic season last year, 51 goals. Off to a good start, and 24 with 3 and 2 already the last 2 weeks.
Marshall reaching. Caldwell. Perkins. Battle has become so accomplished as that interceptor for the Saints. And happy to share it with Sinclair, who'll run all day and delivers for Wilkie. Too strong. Owens removed McGrath from the picture, but the out-of-zone umpire, I think it must have been, who's overruled.
Wow.
It's fascinating, isn't it, when the umpire who has the best view says, no, that's okay. But because the out-of-zone umpire sees something.
Big call. That was a goal.
Instead, it's Essendon attacking. Langford and Hobbs both get there.
Huge call, because that was a stroll-in goal at the other end, because the Saints had pinched a couple of players forward of the ball. Their work rate is absolutely extreme at the minute.
Interesting facet of our game, though. You've got 4 umpires. It only takes 1 to blow the whistle for a free kick, even if the other 3 think it's not.
Fine. Rowan, hold the meter. Thank you, Todd. Holding, Essendon.
Free kick to Goldstein. As Rossline said, the Saints expecting Marshall to be worked over by Goldstein and Draper. Draper has subbed out last week, but both had equal number of ruck contests on the day, all in all. So Goldstein with the setter. He goes for Draper, but instead it's his teammate who has a lot of talent, this man Jones. At the moment doesn't get a lot of the ball. He always looks good though, Jace, when he does things like that and does get you excited.
He does. The late inclusion with Will Setterfield not able to take his spot. It was a really good kick from Todd Goldstein. If Jones didn't mark it, Draper would have hit him right on the chest. He kicked to that space where they could lead, run and jump for the ball. There are 2 tools there. This is the part of the game he has to complete.
Played round 1, just 4 disposals and didn't score, but he's going to here. And he's going to kick a goal. And Essendon badly needed it after 10 minutes without one. And in the absence of Peter Wright, it's important for Essendon that he has his confidence up. Let's have a look at the free first.
Yeah, I think it's there. Yep. Usually have trouble working out ruck infringements, but that one was definitely there. Harrison Jones is in a lot of ways the missing piece for this puzzle. Reid at centre-half back and Jones forward of centre. 2 big bodies they haven't really had much continuity out of so far in their early years.
The only one unhappy with that might have been Sam Draper, who thought he was going to take a big mark. But great to see Harrison Jones hit the scoreboard early from an Essendon perspective. Zach Jones out there for the Saints. But it's Merritt that got first hands. It was a bit of a hopeful handball more than anything. Back to the middle, Martin versus Filippo. Butler scurrying after it again. Martin on the bounce to Merritt. It was awkward, but you wouldn't know it. He handled it beautifully. Thumped forward by Redmond, who's already shown his importance to the team. Langford couldn't quite control it. Stocker, a handball, and they're able to work their way through young Wilson. Back again to Sinclair and guided successfully to Ross. Angus Hastie on debut is the sub for the Saints, and Nick Hind, who quite often finds himself as the sub for the Bombers, has that role again today. There's Filippo and his marking ability. Quick handoff. This man last week was so exciting. Wanganeen-Milera, and look at the delivery, a scorcher. Burns will give it back to Bonner, who'll roll onto the left. And Sharman just watches helplessly as it goes over his head. He's had it a bit as well, Riley Bonner. Experienced player from Port Adelaide. Possession 8 coming up for Redmond.
Not 15, play
Bit
on.
of pent-up frustration with missing last week, perhaps.
Stand.
Dersma been a bit more conservative with the ball after a frantic first 5 minutes. It clearly wasn't as it was supposed to be, but tidied up by Parrish and Durham and Redmond again. And there's Dersma showing something the Bomber fans liked. It's a deep kick, and it put Cordy under pressure. Langford worked his way through it really well. Creative hands. Perkins knew where he wanted to go. Top of the square, lovely tap. And Menzies couldn't quite after Kelly gave him every chance. Quick re-entry. Bonner to Stocker. And then back again. Wanganeen-Milera just waiting for the handoff. It doesn't eventuate because there's more fruitful options further afield. Steele, they are out and they are through. And this is going to end up in a score. Filippo takes the mark.
And this is that defensive structure we've spoken about that's such an issue for Essendon. The way they set up behind the ball, it comes through the middle too easy, and then there are players running into space and no defenders to pick them up. So there's a genuine lot of work still to be done the way they set up behind the ball once they've lost possession. But it's the ball use from Bonner and Wanganeen-Milera coming off half-back for the Saints. It really sets up play.
He's kicked a goal in both games so far this year, Filippo. And he misses away to the right there. So they've left a couple out there already, the Saints. And Wanganeen-Milera, that defensive action in the goal square saved them the goal too. And so he's becoming a complete player. It's the Saints by 8. 5 scores from 7 entries so far for St Kilda. Jones with his hands on the ball in defence. Now Parrish. Huge possession winner returning to the team today. Menzies over the top, but he couldn't climb over Marshall. That's part of the role that he often plays as a ruckman that gets behind the ball. Works it back through Bonner. 8 seasons at Port Adelaide. Hasn't quite reached the 100-game mark yet, but he will the way he's going. Control early here from the Saints out of defence. Butler pauses. Bombers have got this one covered. So down the line. Caminiti, Membry with the marking options. Laverty with the spoil.
It's a good job defensively there from the Bombers. Got into their grid really early. Forced them long down the line. Support arrives in the air.
Goldstein forced it down. Durham. Burns beats Hobbs. Laverty and Membry tangling close enough to the boundary line for Laverty to submit. Now Dyson Heppel just barking out the instructions there to Dersma, and so the Bombers are really conscious of where they should be standing here. A lot of pointing going on. Still, not sure everyone's on the same page. Heppel try to connect with Perkins. Instead, it's Ross gets himself clear with a little shake and then finishes off with a poster.
He started well, Seb Ross. 6 disposals already. A couple of really important tackles and smothers.
Speaking of tackles, though, you want to play with an edge, Essendon. You can't allow a man to break that many tackles in tight confines and get a shot for goal.
Martin to Hobbs in the build-up on the way out. The Saints 6 scores from 8 entries. Down the line. Perkins wasn't quite sure whether to fly the pack or not. Durham weaving. Dersma slapping it on the boot, and it's dropping just inside. Not sure the scoreboard's completely adjusted from yesterday.
The Roos are playing.
You do that, Kingy?
It's one way to get a win.
On the throw-in, Marshall. And Jake Gresham against his old team. We wait for a few hoots. Yeah, there they are. Just took a little while for the Saints fans to recognise who had the footy. Now they know.
Fans are incredibly loyal until it's time to be not loyal, and then they launch.
The Bomber fans trying to bite back. 136 games they cheered in, the Saints fans. And now they jeer as Gresham sets it up towards full forward, and that's enough to be paid a mark to Rowan Marshall. He kicks it straight back to Heppel. He knows he's not close enough. It's kick to kick. And still it is Mackay with the intercept this time. Keeps it short. McGrath got pretty close to the men on the mark. Langford with a leap, but from the side, he is impassable at the moment.
He blew the whistle early.
I thought the handball might be the option next time up.
Yeah, not a great kick. Dersma collected it well. Menzie ambitious with the handball. Didn't quite arrive for Hobbs. Wanganeen-Milera saw Sharman. He sees Battle, who goes along the line for Membry. Both players, as you saw, under the ball. Kelly in game 150, feeding it back through Mackay. Cox had to be nimble. He is for a big guy. Laverty under immediate stress as Seb Ross. His fearsome appetite for the footy on display.
They're quick to tackle the Saints. They will not give the Bombers any freedom, particularly on counter-attack. They're all over them.
Marshall had his way. Dersma's made a positive start. Philippo through the pack. It was impressive until it wasn't. Slammed into the turf. Sinclair with the tackle. Forced the Bombers to cough it up. Windhager from Ross. And then to Caminiti. Trying to get through was Mackay. Hits the ground. And then Higgins. Philippo got to work. Caminiti to Butler. They've got the answers up forward to Saints. Or have they? He jumped at Caminiti. And somehow, eventually, it's gone through.
I thought he was just going to be a little bit too cute then and run past one too many blokes, but he did it well in the end, Dan Butler. He sells it beautifully here. That's great. Then I thought he would have kicked it there. Then you go around him. No, go around him too. Get the big bloke out of the way and it should go through. They look dangerous. They look like scoring every time they go forward, the Saints.
They almost have.
That's the issue.
7 scores from 9 entries.
Yeah. But again, you talked earlier, Jason, about them breaking tackles or stepping around tackles. He single-handedly defeated 4 Bombers in 10 steps.
So they want to play with the edge. Ross Lyon told us pre-game he thinks Saints have been playing with the edge for a year and a half. Yeah. At the moment, it's advantage St.Kilda, isn't it, in terms of the edge? The way they're tackling and the pressure they're putting on.
You can see it with the tackle pressure, can't you?
Yep.
They just won't give the Bombers an inch.
And out of the middle again, Steele and Marshall with the collaboration. Butler removed from the picture by McGrath, who then falls over. And Martin with the attempt to tidy things. Sharman versus Dersma. I've got to it now, Kingy.
So they made a change.
See what you can do, Jace.
This is just a slap in the face to the Saints, isn't it? They're throwing up every emblem other than their own.
The numbers they care about is that they're ahead by 15 points. Good tight work again with Steele and Windhager until Perkins able to smash it forward. Stringer hasn't been a factor so far. Wilkie, Sinclair, he certainly has, and so has Windhager. Breakout game for him last week. Stretching the handball to Ross. Back to Windhager again. Another launch inside 50. Over Laverty's head. Mackay got shoved out of the road by Caminiti. And then the smother by Higgins on McGrath. Heppel went to ground but was able to knock it back to Mackay. We got help in the end from Perkins. And through Caldwell to Laverty, who's got to have the confidence to kick it further afield. Great effort from Kelly to reach out and take the mark from the Heppel kick, and then goes back into the goal square almost.
Well, there's nothing easy.
Oh, well, that was easy for the Saints and for Caminiti, who rams it through.
He'd love his time again, Nick Martin, wouldn't he? That's just a dreadful kick. And unfortunately, McGrath not able to fix up the mess. Gets an odd bounce. It's a good finish. And that's how you put salt into the wounds. Just punish them for those sort of errors.
They've made them tight, though, haven't they?
Yeah.
They won't allow them to move the ball with any freedom. They're not allowing Essendon to play their own game. And sometimes the easy kick becomes a difficult one.
Yeah, this isn't part of the plan. Brad Scott sitting there going, I'm sure we didn't speak about doing this pre-game.
Don't know about the players having the edge, but the coach just might have caught a time the way this is going.
So the plus side is, at the moment, they're only 3 goals down. So get one before quarter time, and you're still right in the contest, even though they're not playing well at the moment.
Perkins with the soccer into the 50. Hobbs and Langford eventually got things sorted. Stringer with the paddle. Caldwell flicks it out. Dersma would love to kick a goal like that. We can see the Essendon arrow.
That's what they needed, Kingy.
Yeah. Just get the ball forward, get into their forward half, and see if you can win a contest or two. There's a couple of Saints collided. Langford, clever kick, and Stringer just knocked the ball to the advantage of his teammates. He knew what was on offer on the right-hand side of screen. That's a good finish from Dersma. Bomber fans have gone from hating seeing that arrow to loving it.
First time we've seen it as a Bomber.
Well, they just want to see it a little more often. So, just minimising the damage. We've mentioned the Saints efficient. 8 scores from 11 inside 50s. The Bombers just 3 from their 9. But fortunately, St Kilda haven't hurt them on the scoreboard as yet. It's only a couple of goals.
Free kick to Draper.
Hold up, back round. Stand!
It was even numbers deep, but he decided not to kick, and now the Saints have filtered into the back 50. Sinclair in front of the pack. Wilkie didn't hang on to it. Langford was already into his move before the obstructions came. Well done by Jones and Wilkie. Wilson's kick is straight to McGrath. Stringer demands it 40 out. That's where the ball heads, and he's got it.
Well,
he was on his own for a long time.
I was about to make the statement, Hutto, he hadn't had a touch in the first quarter, so they need to get Jake Stringer in the game, and here he gets a chance to tighten things up on the scoreboard.
Well, he'd done that little tap on, hadn't he?
Yep.
That was the only time
That was it.
Had an influence.
They hadn't had a possession. But now this is a monster kick just against the run of play. A couple of quick goals late in the quarter.
7 goals, 2 in 2 games so far this season for Jake Stringer, basically playing as a permanent forward. 4 goals in round 1, 3 goals in round 2. And he's got 1 on the board in round 3. And the Bombers are perhaps closer than they should be.
So we talked about what Brad Scott's trying to do, and it's a really aggressive press. They're right up the field. They're almost 65, 70 metres from goal. Just have a look. The full-back's there with the back pocket. 70 from goal. So that's how they want to play. They want to lock the ball in their forward half and get those repeat entries and see if you can crack the opposition. Well, they did on that occasion. Yes, they've bled a couple out the back early, and the Saints have made them pay. But there's one sticking true to who you are, your identity as a team.
And you will have to live with some that go the other way quickly, won't you?
Yep.
Once kicked 56 goals in a season, Jake Stringer. Draper, Steele. Couldn't quite get out of the other side of the tackle. And there's Zach Jones, who was the sub last week at the start. Started it on the field today. Picked up 15 touches. Kelly off the wing. Gresham. Jones. Good hands to Steele. Owens leading Laverty to the ball. They're both the subject of the whim of the bounce of the footy. Umpire not convinced it was worthy of an in the back.
Roll it, Sam. Roll it. Hand off. Move out the meter.
Looks reasonably relaxed, Ross, doesn't he?
Draper with a left-handed tap it down to Hill, and then Sinclair at the back of the stoppage. Didn't seem to be a path for Owens, but he's still got both hands on it. McGrath taken high, and Merritt decides he will take the advantage. He just saw Draper on the horizon, and the big fella takes the mark. Langford's one-on-one further afield. He's leading up. He's taking the mark as they fill the forward 50. It's Jones deep into the pocket for Jake Stringer, who's taken the mark, and he's been part of the turnaround here for the Bombers late in the quarter.
So he was outside the 50-metre arc. When he saw Kyle Langford about to get on the end of that one, he took off like Usain Bolt. He was unbeatable, streaking into the forward pocket, and it just took Langford to make that decision to get back from the mark quickly and then move the ball on and create a shot for goal for Stringer.
25 goals in 11 games against the Saints previously before today. Has one under his belt already. That is not going to be another goal. It's going to be another intercept mark for Rowan Marshall. Most of them have been very deep intercept marks, but nonetheless denying the Bombers key forwards. Oh, he took a step further than perhaps he needed to there. Filippo slightly misjudges McGrath, and then the numbers multiply around the ball, and the degree of difficulty of getting out gets a little high.
It's a good response from the Bombers. The last 5 minutes have really lifted their work rate, got through.
Durham. It's tough and tight in there. Martin didn't panic, but in the end he really didn't have anyone to handball to. Jones and Mackay is the last line for the Bombers. Happy to switch. Laverty. There's a couple of Saints around McGrath, and in flight for a moment. Thought they might have had some access to it. It was a good stretch. Jones takes the grab for Essendon. We're down to the last 30 seconds. One last play, perhaps. Draper is the deepest. He's running, and he can't get up and take the mark. Hobbs got boot to ball at least. Hacked out of there. Will that be enough to hold the Bombers at bay? Sharman, Filippo. Owens, how did he get a handball out of that? Caldwell dug in. McGrath, still time for a mark. Oh, Langford. He was thrust forward at a rapid rate. Couldn't quite hang on to the football. Intriguing opening quarter. Saints looked like they were going to score, and they almost did every time they went in 50 in the early minutes. The Bombers were able to steady, and they lead the Saints by 9 points at quarter time. 4-4-28 to 3-1.
Welcome back to Fox Footy's live and exclusive coverage of the Saints and the Bombers. And St Kilda dominated the opening quarter, but their lead isn't as much as they would expect. Just 9 points. The Bombers with a late fight back on the Brad Scott side, hanging in there, despite the Saints really hurting the Bombers on turnover. So it's game on now at quarter time. And David King, the ability of St Kilda to be able to move the ball from their D50 into offence was something we talked about before the game and looks like being a really key part of today's game.
Oh, it sure does. They've had 3 scoring opportunities from their defensive half on counterpunch. They are in full flight, these forwards resetting quickly. And the mids were on top early, but I think it was a great response from the Bombers to be able to come back. But this is them defensively, just closing the space, trying to force Essendon to turnover. The big tackle, and the tackling's been a feature of the Saints so far this afternoon, and then just get the ball forward. And look at the top of the screen, you can just see how quickly these guys are resetting and charging forward. It's effectively 4v2 there where the ball is, as Cox and Heppel cannot recover, and it's a strolling goal in the end.
Yeah, it looked like the Saints were really in control of this first quarter, but the Bombers fought back with the last couple of goals to even things up. They're winning a lot of the footy, the Bombers. They've had an extra 22 possessions. Translate that, or extrapolate that over the 4 quarters, that'd be 88. That's a lot of possession. But it's the pressure that the Saints are putting on the Bombers, creating quick kicks, missed kicks. We saw one deep in defence that was turned over, cost a goal. So they've got to be mindful to make right decisions and hit their targets, the Bombers, or they're going to be hurt by this pressure that St Kilda are applying.
Second half of that quarter, their kicking skills deserted them, the Saints. Kicked at 35% for the last 15 minutes of that quarter. So bringing the ball out of the back line has made them and broken them on occasion.
This is really, both coaches have kept their groups in way longer than is normal. So there is some intensity in this, and they've got to rush, really. They're both late, so no matter, but it probably reflects the gravity of the situation for both men in charge.
Yeah, they don't always work to the sirens, the coaches. They're
well, maybe they look across at each other. Yeah. He's still got him, so I'll keep mine in as well.
We'll both get fined if we have to.
Yeah. Ross has an 11-4 record over Brad as they've gone head-to-head over the years. It's the Saints by 9 after the opening quarter, and I think that the discussion in the Essendon camp might have been a bit different if the siren for quarter time had rung about 8 or 9 minutes earlier than it did.
Well, they've got a bit of momentum now, haven't they? Last couple of goals, feeling good about themselves, winning plenty of the ball, just need to tidy things up a bit.
Martin with 12 disposals, Redmond with 9, McGrath with 8, Heppel with 7. All out of defence. They were working overtime in that opening term. So what has the second quarter got for us? Goldstein starts in the ruck. And the Saints out of the middle through Steele, Windhager and Burns. To half forward, Filippo. Not paid the mark, which made disposing of it rather difficult for him. Touch was the call. And there it was from Redmond.
Good decision.
4 Saints over it here. Stocker brings Hill back into play. Strokes it to Owens, who got worked under the ball. Jumper tugged of Membry. No whistle still. Caminiti. Membry to the voice of Owens. Ross doubles back to the goal square. Filippo has to fight with Caminiti for it. Quick kick, Membry doesn't go too far. Now McGrath got ball to boot, couldn't really direct it, and the decision is insufficient.
That's stiff, isn't it?
But it's consistent. We see that all the time. It was always going to be called.
Burns with the footy.
They just kept it alive for so long, the Saints. Deep forward without getting bottled up in a tackle. They'd get the hands free.
Yeah, they've done that a bit, haven't they, today? Burns around he goes. Got right underneath the footy. It'd take a big grab. Caminiti threatened in the air. Goldstein, Owens v Martin, who stood his ground well. And he summed up the rule pretty well. It was inside the 9 and there was enough around him. He at least looked like he knew exactly what the rule was and wasn't. McGrath into Cox.
Play on.
Can they bounce off half back? Merritt, most of the Bomber fans thought he would take that mark. I think he thought that himself.
Mitch Owens is the one that looks dangerous in the Saints forward line at the moment. He's got the match up on Laverty. This looks like taking a mark every time it comes in.
Goldstein reaching over, taps to good effect. Heppel. Wilkie saw it early. And now he's galloping away with the footy. Through the middle of the ground, on the bounce, Filippo again twisting and turning Hill. Forward with the hands, Ross with his back to goal, and was still able to connect even though he misfired. Sinclair, great delivery, and there it is, Kingy.
He read that so much quicker than his opponent, King. He actually was behind his opponent, but he just read it and he took 2 steps before Laverde had reacted as to where the ball was going.
He's got to match up his liking at the moment. He's far too agile for Laverde. He's had 3 or 4 really good launches already this afternoon at the football inside the forward 50. Got to make a change there.
Move it on.
Just took 15 marks inside forward 50 last year, but as we said, he can hit the scoreboard, and if he starts the way he has today, he could do anything in a game. It wasn't pure off the boot, but it's right through the middle. And after Essendon kicked the last 2, they'll certainly take that, St Kilda.
He's got a smile on his face. He knows it wasn't the best kick that's come off his boot, but importantly, he converted. And look, he's such a dangerous player. So have a look at this. It's down the far end. You can see where he comes from. He's actually backing back. He's behind Laverde.
On the right.
On the right, yeah, near the goal, in between the goalposts. And he just a couple of steps before Laverde's even read where the ball's going. Just such quick reflexes and the ability to track the ball and read it so quickly.
Is that a throw?
It looked like a throw. He missed his hand with the handball.
Good throw-ish.
Yep.
And it went 6 metres, Sarah, sorry.
The runner, Travis Cloke, going directly to Laverde there with the message from Brett Scott. No surprises.
Travis not getting involved with anything too much there, Sarah, just doing the regular message.
Just the regular.
16 points the margin. He escaped any penalty for, well, he was pulling out his own team, wasn't he, last week? But there was a bit of a memo going out, saying just know what you can and can't do as a runner. Goldstein, good hands. Perkins kicks wiped out, though. Filippo's been in everything so far this quarter. Steele, and that was a beautiful kick. Too good as it turned out for Membry. Higgins might tidy up anyway off the left. He can kick them from anywhere, this man. He can kick them from out of bounds, we saw last week. He can kick them on the right, he can kick them on the left.
I'll tell you what, the man kicking himself will be Tim Membry. Yeah. I mean, that is an elite kick inside 50. This is ridiculous, the quality of this kick.
Here's the smother again.
Yep. And have a look at this. Bang. Where do you want it?
Oh.
Again, gave the defender no chance, but at least he was good enough to butter up and then dish the hand pass out to Higgins, who finished well.
Again, though, it's Higgins forward of the ball all alone.
Where's his opponent?
Yeah, well, it looked like he just left him at the stoppage. I mean, I know you want aggressive half-back flankers ready to go, and Essendon did have possession.
You can't just ball watch, King.
No, pre-smother. You've got to have your opponent in sight.
He's the first model of goal kicker in the game. Jones flat out, Burns, Windhager. They've at least pushed them back here, the Bombers, but Jones still able to get hands on the footy first. Wanganeen-Milera. Stocker overwhelmed by the pressure. Stringer couldn't get a decisive handball away, and now it's back in St Kilda's hands. Burns happy to regress a little. Back to Wilkie. And then again to Stocker.
See, that ball should never have come out of defence there. The Bombers had so many opportunities to wrap it up with a tackle, a smother, even got their hands on the ball at one stage.
Up to Membry and then down to Sharman. And they're threatening again. There's lots of movement. Wilson leads into a hole. The kick goes wider than that. Caminiti rolled over by Mackay. Martin and Redmond on the clean-up. Just no conviction in where to go next, so goes long down the line. Menzies again, Stocker, clean win for St Kilda, which meant that Burns was able to look up at the footy, take the mark, and from just outside 50, he mulls over what to do next. Targets Marshall versus Draper. Wilson vulnerable with the tackle, scraped out a handball to Steele. Draper, a big physical presence there. No one's quite sure what's going to come next. Wasn't the best of kicks. Cordy to Wilkie. And they're able to avoid the Bombers' pressure. Now Hill. Marshall's pushed deep again for a long target. Jones. Through Sinclair. Back to Stocker. This is better pressure. Stringer laid the tackle on Hill. Battle has to react quickly, which he does. Sinclair motors along, fired the pass, misfired the pass. Dursman.
Through that passage there, though, there's there's a feeling of it's almost disdain from the St Kilda players for the Essendon tacklers. They're getting tackled and they go, oh, I can still get a handball away. I'll hang on to it and I'll find a teammate. And they are finding teammates from it. So it's the quality, the effectiveness of Essendon's tackles that's leaving a bit to be desired.
2 goals already for the term, and the game largely being played in St Kilda's half. Kelly. Ill last week, back in the team today to play game 150. Now Martin can launch from one wing to the other to Dersma. Is there some possibilities on the open side? Back through the middle goes Dersma. Gives Langford and Jones opportunities. And for the second time in the game, he showed his athleticism to take the mark. And Dersma's done a couple of nice things today.
He's the one that looks likely in the air up forward for the Bombers. Harrison Jones put a great leap on him. And if he's given a run and jump, he'll do that all day. One of those players you desperately need to get body on to try and take that run and jump away, but he will just attack the footy every time he sees it.
Had an ankle reconstruction last year, also dealt with back stress fractures. Great to see him fit, and even better to see him kicking goals. That's 2 for Harrison Jones. And both times, in both quarters, they've come on the back of St Kilda getting away, so they've been important ones for his team.
Taking the 5 marks inside 50 from only 16 entries. It's a very good return from your tools. You're right, Jason. He just gets an uninterrupted run at the ball here. You rarely see that.
Yeah, Riley Bonner was actually responsible for him at the time, which probably isn't the matchup anyway. But he was unable to get anybody in between the contest and Harrison Jones.
Dersma's doing some damage. It's going to be a very good day. 8 disposals. He's kicked a goal already. He's involved in 3 scores for the Bombers.
Back to 16. Slap forward by Draper. Durham met the footy, and he wore some pretty severe contact. He's going to at least get a free kick. The 4-year contract extension has the new role in the middle where the action is. Martin displaced as he kicked it. Still got it deep. Jones hunting the footy at ground level now.
Wrestle going on between Menzies and Stocker, I think, was it?
Yeah.
Off the ball, while the ball was about 10 metres away.
It's a good one.
Still going at it.
Marshall just got fingertips to it. Not much court he could do. Sloan Langford will kick a goal. Langford does kick a goal. And again, the game turns.
Well, they did it back into the first term, kicked a couple of late goals to tighten the scores up. They've done it again mid-part of the second quarter here. So this is the effort you want to see. Just keep competing. Just keep trying to get the ball inside 50 and then you lock it in and make things happen.
They're both scoring so freely, aren't they?
Yep.
I mean, the Saints have 12 scores from 17 entries, 6 goals, so 1 every 3. St Kilda 5 from 17.
Well, the way to keep competitive here for the Bombers is to be efficient, and they're doing that. 5-1.
51 goals last year, as Kingy mentioned, been multiple goal kicker both the opening 2 weeks, but he hasn't really had the freedom. He's getting more attention, which we understand this year, it seems. Just less possessions, but 2 goals last week, and he's on the board already this afternoon. And the Bombers back to 10 points. Ross, Wanganeen-Milera, he's been restricted so far today. That's just his 5th disposal. Zach Jones thumps it. Central kick, backing back, hairball, but Sharman, who long limb player, does have the ability to take a mark close to goal, and he's done it here.
That's a good mark. It's a really good leap. I mean, he's just jumped up at a height where Laverty or Heppel couldn't get anywhere near.
It comes at a time when you think the Bombers might get a ruck advantage with Goldstein versus Owens in the middle of the ground.
Cooper Sharman a goal in each of the first 2 rounds. That stays well and truly left. Normally a pretty accurate kick. Back with Nick Martin, already had 18 disposals. be helped by the fact the Saints have kicked 6 behinds, and he's largely has the kick-in duties. He fired that one in, and it was perfectly executed to Durham, and out of Redmond, immediate opposition. Back through Kelly as they reroute out of defence via the dockside. Martin, again, far from perfect. Dersma. And Laverty wasn't going to try anything too fancy. Back through Kelly. Martin again, all their defenders getting a lot of the footy.
He's at 21 now, Hunter.
Yeah. He might get another in a minute. He was running to receive from Parrish.
It's all high risk in an area of the ground which doesn't necessarily bring a reward.
That was high risk as well.
Yeah.
And it's some interference.
Yeah, and you give up the ball to the opposition in the corridor centre of the field. Very, very risky.
On a slow play too. Ross out wide for Burns. Relatively low into the forward 50. Cox playing in front. Jones arrives first, and he knew where the help was. Hobbs had to improvise. Tough bounce for Langford. Wilkie reels it in. Bonner didn't want to take possession. Merritt wore him well and then stayed on his feet. By hand this time, multiple times. Not so successfully. Owens, Zach Jones. Creates the space once, twice. Sells a bit and then gets forward. Filippo back through the middle. Wanganeen-Milera, we know how deadly he is. By left or right, particularly by right. Didn't want to take the kick. So off to Ross, and they've worked it well. They waited and waited, and Sharman's going to get another look close to goal.
Well, that's exactly what you were talking about earlier, Jason. They are not fearing the tackling pressure of the Bombers, and probably a reflection of earlier in the game when they just missed too many. They broke too many tackles. Look at Jones there. He takes on 6 Bombers. Gives the hands inside, and they do the same again.
In the absence of Max King, who is going to step up and kick the goals for the Saints this afternoon. Higgins already has 2. Sharman's had 1 shot and missed. He's generally a beautiful kick, and he was so close there. So the Bombers dodge one. Let's see if they can find a more convincing path out of defence here. They both obstruct each other. Caldwell and Perkins. Hill pounces deep for Membry. Butler underneath at the back. Mackay needs to work his reflexes because they were sweating on the outside. Cox and Heppel. Dersma back to the former captain, who keeps it short and tight and safe this time for Caldwell. Eyes darting. He saw Stringer close to the line. It took a pretty good kick and a solid mark. Stringer, he also tries to thread the needle and fails. Windhager back through the middle. It's contagious. Good spoil from the outside by Redmond. Saints win it back, but for how long? Wilkie to open country. All about the bounce for Membry. Back for Burns again. Floats the kick, Filippo, but Heppel. Oh, Redmond, he didn't realise, but the umpire very kindly has paid him the mark.
That is a generous decision.
Happy Easter.
It is an arm chop.
Yeah, well, maybe it could have been a free.
He actually paid the mark.
He did, yep. Cox. Jones flying in the air. He's got to pay that one then, doesn't he, I guess? To battle. He was itching to kick it back to the inside, but he goes down the line instead. Mackay had to try and handle 2 in the air. Martin at the back in reserve. Too strong for Goldstein. Jones is fine for his marks. He didn't hang on to that one. Marshall. Good tackling from Parrish. Bomber fans trying to find their voice, trying to inspire their teams, but it's St Kilda. Wanganeen-Milera, Ross, another mark inside forward 50 in clear space for the Saints, and Higgins has got a line up for number 3.
He is running around unopposed, Jack Higgins. I know the umpire made some 50-50 calls out there that all went to the Saints. Probably holding the ball. We've probably got to
dispose of it correctly.
Reward the tackler on that one, but Higgins needs some attention.
9 marks inside 50 for St Kilda. And Higgins will be very disappointed with that.
Well, it's keeping the Bombers in the game, isn't it?
2 goals,
6
4.
goals, 8.
2-4 for the quarter.
Yeah.
2-5 from set shots for the day. 13 the difference. Nick Martin, he could have 50 today. That's 24th disposal. Goldstein knocks it down. It wasn't quite the connection he was after on the handball. They're overwhelmed by the numbers. Inside again. Membry behind that time. Scooped up well by Laverty, and now Martin has possession. 25. Caldwell to Heppel. Got to get out of the way. Perkins laid it off to Cox. Can they get some sort of connection? No! Wanganeen-Milera, a lefty's post, gets forward, takes the mark. He's starting to get into the game, which could spell trouble. Quick give to Battle, who gives it plenty. It's deep. Mackay versus the pack. Made the spoil, and they're happy to hold it up. Inside 50s now 25-17. And it's 13-3 for the quarter. So they, in defence, are being overwhelmed and overworked. Cox to Martin again. No wonder he's had so much of the footy. It's been there almost exclusively for the quarter. Langford, and they see it over and out.
They've had the last 8 inside 50s, but only have 3 points to show for it during that period.
He's just chalking up the numbers. Nick Martin, isn't it? 26 and a half of footy.
Draper over the top. Dersma. Caldwell. Is there a path to be plotted here for Essendon out of there? Not yet. Dersma tries his luck off the ground. Bonner sweating on him. Gresham did well. Hobbs, it's his turn to cop it, and at least they get a stoppage on the wing. 2 goals each for the quarter, despite 10 more entries. Dersma to the outside to Parrish. He gets creative with McGrath. Better build up. Perkins. Langford versus Wilkie. Dropped the mark unexpectedly. And Kelly in his 150th. Can he? No. Gresham tried for something magical as well.
Gee. Tried everything there.
Kelly. He's only kicked 3 goals in his career, Jake Kelly. He may not get a better chance. Tapped it with any sort of authority. There's 4 Saints though, with no opposition, which was a good thing for Windhager. They play amongst themselves for a little while. Heppel takes a big grab, Dyson.
Yeah, and look, I've been watching a bit of this quarter. He appears to be responsible for Jack Higgins, and at different stages he lets Higgins go up the field, and he'll drop deep in defence, trying to be another aerial presence.
It's a packed forward 50, hard to take a mark. Hobbs did well to start his feet initially, and then he ran into the biggest man out there.
Gee. It's a big tackle.
And Rowan Marshall. He's a terrific all-round ruckman. It'll give to Bonner, who can always put length on his kicks. To Owens, but McGrath, as they worked him under the ball, takes the mark. Essendon with a few repeats here. Back into the 50, they venture, or do they? Miscalculated. Martin tried to have his 27th disposal. Are they going to count that one? I think they are. Hard to believe that no one drafted him, but the Bombers certainly picked up a bargain in the off-season a couple of years ago in Nick Martin.
He's had double what everyone else on the field has had, Hutto. But you can't sit there and say he's miles in front in terms of best man on ground.
Well, they stride out Phillippo. Off the hands. Heppel knew what was coming from Membry. No prior. Mackay to Dersma. Trusts his left boot implicitly. And that is a handy asset to have as Jones takes it and goes back inside. Sure about the wisdom of all of that. Heppel to Hobbs, who's starting to get a feel for the footy now. beckoning his teammate to give him something. It's going to be tough, though, for Stringer in amongst three Saints. Wilson, a bold handball to a ruckman. Merritt was there, but Bonner is going to send it almost into the crowd.
All the way to the line or outside. Play on.
So they're within 13 points. McGrath with a set-up kick. Again, he goes for the big ruckman down there. Draper can't mark. Steele to Bonner. He's vulnerable. Very great tackle, Merritt, and no.
No Pryor.
No Pryor.
Building the pressure here, though, the Bombers. Good response the last couple of minutes.
Draper the tap. Merritt couldn't get ball to Pete. Ross to Bonner. Essendon should be able to work their numbers. Cox to McGrath. Back she goes again. Over Langford. Marshall off balance. And again, there was no Pryor. Merritt with that defensive edge he wants to bring. Laying some big tackles.
Did well to take it cleanly, Rowan Marshall. There are a couple of Bombers waiting out the back. If he fumbles that, that's an Essendon goal.
No one really on the move except Stringer and Parrish.
It's been a good little period. They continue to nip away at the Saints.
Wanganeen-Milera boldly down the middle. Beautiful kick for Bonner, but he doesn't quite take the mark. They get beyond the centre so they can at least set up behind this. Cox, as Essendon look to recharge and come again. Perkins, it was a great tackle from Sinclair. Handoff Jones was good. McGrath, they've got some numbers, and Parrish is going to use one of them. He plays it out wide. And Jake Kelly, what's his confidence levels like? Not so high. Kicks it to a more renowned goal kicker in Kyle Langford instead.
This is the man you want having the shot for goal. I know it's a much tighter angle, but he is a beautiful set shot.
A little bit disappointed in Jake for that, Jason.
In game number 150, go back and kick the big one.
You need those moments for your highlights tape when you've been a defender too. Big kick this, though, for Kyle Langford. No Peter Wright today, as we all know. Langford last year was able to step up and carry a big load in the big guy's absence, but on this occasion the angle was a little too acute. So it's 11 points. With 2 minutes remaining. Bonner. Back for Wilkie. Oh!
He's paid the mark.
Jones has been paid the mark. He didn't know it. Back to the goal square. Bit of a standoff there. Gresham. Ross taken high. What might have been.
Oh, they are
ropeable. It was a strange set of circumstances, wasn't it? The player didn't believe he'd marked it.
Yeah, look, he was one that tapped it out of the hands of them and then took the second grab. So it's probably you can pay the mark, but you don't expect to have it paid. That was the problem.
Filippo surrounded. Bombers fans again calling for holding the ball. Cox kept at it. And they have kept at it, Essendon, haven't they?
What they have done,
turn things around a bit.
They're dominating territory at the moment, so they've got St.Kilda pinned down. Well, you can't complain about that. Although Bombers fans will.
Margin 11. Steele stripped out of immediately. Perkins.
My ball. Thanks, guys. My ball.
Essendon have an extra back off the contest here. Saints have got a couple protecting the goal face. Perkins. Again, Essendon fans urging the umpire to blow their whistle, looking for it in the back, but good non-call. Straight up, straight into it again. Draper, improvisation. Cordia, get it out of there sort of kick. They were lined up ready for it. Laverty, precious seconds, 40 to go. A goal either way here could make a big difference going into half-time. Mackay knew he had to get rid of it. Membry, still no holding the ball. Higgins to half forward, and there is time. Either way, it's busy out there on the City wing. And we're down to 19 now. Marshall gives the Saints a look. Cox a fumble, important double grabber. Higgins to Owens. Can they get creative? They're hopeful. If anyone can, it was Higgins. Bombers standing firm. Kelly, and that'll see it off. An intriguing match here at Marvel Stadium. So much of it dominated by the Saints, but the last 6 or 7 minutes of both quarters have been a different story. Both teams are going to leave it all out there today, Jace. It's that kind of game.
It is.
Lead by 11.
And you can see the crowd's getting involved now because they can sense that the Bombers are really pushing hard. It's just not quite working for them. They really dominated that last 7 or 8 minutes of the quarter. Had the ball locked in their forward 50. Just couldn't get the goal that would have really tightened things up on the scoreboard. But they've got St Kilda nervous right now. There is genuine intensity from their effort. That's what you're looking for. Nick Martin leads all comers, 28 possessions. Seb Ross, the best of the Saints with 17, next best on either team, 15. So that is a lot of possession. Ross Lyon still in the box, still checking a few numbers, still looking at things.
Let's get to Sarah Jones.
I've got Jack Sinclair with me. 6 more scoring shots for you at the moment. How important is it going to be to take your chances in the second half?
Yeah, it's going to be enormous. It is every game. I feel like we didn't quite capitalise, and they hit the scoreboard when, they were peppering us there. And, a couple of goals in front. We didn't quite execute that quarter. The message came out. Just kept getting the ball forward, but I think we overhandled it a bit, and it was pretty clear to see.
It looks like you're prepared to take the Bombers tackler on. Is that a directed?
Oh, we wanted to get numbers to the footy and use our numbers, but I think, probably that quarter we just overused it.
All right, we'll let you get in there. Good luck.
Thanks, Josie.
Well, a huge day on Fox Footy tomorrow. Sensational weekend of football in South Australia. It was marvellous last year and some real marquee matchups to enjoy. The Power and the Bombers is one of those. And for the Saints, well, they will be meeting Richmond at Norwood on the Sunday. So plenty to look forward to from the City of Churches next week. And, of course, you can watch all the action unfold on Fox Footy. Hutto, pack your bags. It's going to be good fun.
It certainly is. And the weather's forecast for the mid to low 20s, so it should be a perfect weekend for some great footy. Righto, is there a way back for the Bombers, Jace? They're only 11 points behind.
Well, there has to be if you're within a couple of kicks.
What's the key to them being able to challenge here?
Well, they've got to keep that pressure up that they had the last half of that second term. They really dominated territory and they started to really put the Saints under the pump. We saw some uncharacteristic errors. So St Kilda haven't taken all their chances. Otherwise, they could have had a bit more breathing space. They'd probably be a bit more relaxed. What the Bombers do need to do is stick some tackles. Quality of their tackles has been poor in the first half.
What about, is there a couple of Essendon players that you're looking towards?
Well, Hutto, you always like to play well against your former team. Jade Gresham, unfortunately, hasn't happened for him in the first half. Just the 2 possessions. Hasn't hit the scoreboard. He wants to have a big impact. You can guarantee he's keen to get involved. And I think Jake Stringer's the other one. He kicked a goal in the first half, but that was basically it. Just the 5 touches. Didn't really get us engaged as we often see Big Jake. So hopefully he's another one that can fire up, although it's hard to fire up when you're starting on the bench.
All right, a last breath or two, and then eyes to the middle. Umpire Robert O'Gorman to set them back in motion. Neither ruckman jumped too high. Steele went to ground. Tracked all the way to the wing. Windhager just had a quick look. Wanganeen-Milera, who Menzies been trying to contain. Quick kick forward from Hobbs, and that's well judged. Getting back, Stocker. Off to Wanganeen-Milera. Just starting to get released, Kingy, wasn't he, in the back end of that second quarter. And when he goes, he can certainly captivate. A couple of bounces, and then Filippo. He had Wilson. He still got Wilson away to the left. He was reluctant to kick to him. Now, he is a beautiful long kick. He puts his faith in Membry, Wilson off the ground. Membry held it, I reckon, 20% longer than a couple of players did in that second quarter.
It's a couple of marks that he would normally swallow. Unfortunately, Tim Membry hasn't had the sticky fingers today. Dropped the chest mark, a regulation one. In the second quarter, he dropped one there. That's a certain goal. But I can only assume that there was no vision there from Philippa, because how he missed Darcy Wilson in the pocket is beyond me.
Just turned it straight back over to Wilkie. Steele through the middle to Marshall. Can go either way from here at centre half forward. Membry's the deepest. And again at the death, it was good defence by Mackay. Higgins with the handball. Caminiti pops up. He's already snapped one from there, but that's gone well across the face.
Back to the 9. Darcy, go back.
Gets his chance today in the absence of Max King.
Harry Jones, who was the Bombers' most threatening forward in the opening half, has been getting some treatment for his back on the sidelines.
He's had a wealth of injuries he's had to deal with, so let's hope that's all okay and he'll be back there very soon. Heppel to the wing. Marshall had early position. Battle at the back. Hobbs just scooped that up. Allowed to pass by the umpire. Gresham onto it now. Durham. They can work this wing and work it well. Perkins. Langford should and does, and he keeps on going around the chicane and he runs it home. And the Bombers get the first and the third.
Well, now things tighten up. They might have gotten away with a little throw up on the wing, but you take what the umpire gives you. And they had good numbers running forward. They linked up. This is the one we're talking about. Often gets pinged. Benefit of the doubt to the player. A couple of slick hand passes, and this is a really good kick from Caldwell to Langford, and has the space, has the legs, makes sure of it. Perfect start for the Bombers. Game on. They throw the challenge back to the Saints now.
That's the Bombers that Brad Scott wants to see. The run and gun, explode out of the back line. Forwards back leading to goal. Bypass those assertive defensive players for the Saints.
Langford has his second and it tightens up. Back to 6. Harris tried to get it moving. Heppel should still be able to through Goldstein. And out the other side, Martin, when he gets forward, this is where he can really do some damage. Oh, it rattles the post. His 29th disposal of the day. That would have blown the roof off with Essendon fans, that one. They're within 5, as close as they've been since midway through the opening quarter. So suddenly it's the Saints being tested on the way out. Battle to Cordy.
Good run.
Have released, haven't they, with that hard running across half-back. Steele makes himself useful. He was tempted just to give instinctively, but didn't want to make the critical error, so plays it to a couple of one-on-ones down the line. Membry hangs on to that. Out muscles Cox. Marshall's pushed forward, trying to work Goldstein over, and he has. He's done it really well. Goldie trails in, and Rowan Marshall takes the mark.
He's taking the points at the moment, Marshall, versus both Goldstein and Draper. Been very good early, particularly his work down back to intercept mark. This would be a statement.
Going around the corner. They strike it well from this far out.
He does most things pretty well, Rowan Marshall. Not everything. Owens just fossicking for it. Caminiti tries to keep it in. And Owens gets another go. Marshall again in a much better place to take it mark. Well done, Martin. Great defensive act. Membry, Redmond now. Caminiti. And there was so closes there for the Saints. Perilous for Essendon.
It's another missed opportunity for the Saints, though. The shot from Marshall.
Oh, there's all sorts of arms going everywhere there. Umpire couldn't work it out. Parrish skies one back to the middle. Battle doesn't try and take the mark. Parrish had to reach for it. His second effort was pretty good, but Burns has some momentum up. He wants the free. Caldwell gets away with it. Parrish to Merritt. Essendon buy some time. That's about all they'll buy. A bit of yardage to Wilkie. They'll have to get ready because it's coming back. Battle. He can get into full wind-up. Quick adjustment at the last moment. Scoped out Jones. The run from Hill from the outside. And then just tosses it back. Philippo back with a flight. Turning around Owens. Ooh. Kai's gone to ground. This should be another goal to Higgins. It is. When they need one. He's the man. He's kicked his third.
Well, he's been so damaging, Jason. It's a marvel how he's able to get free. Good clash, good contest there. Yeah. Bomber defenders coming back with bravery. Heppel it was it Laverty?
Took out his own man, unfortunately.
Yeah. But just that ball to a dangerous position, really dangerous spot.
Good work from Jack Steele and all that as well.
So Higgins has had 12 disposals, 9 of them inside the forward 50. Wow. That's a huge number.
Saints 2-goal lead almost restored. Jones and Parrish both over the footy. Windhager's hands. And then the fearsome tackle played in the middle by Hobbs. Helps it go Essendon's way. Stocker versus Menzie. Essendon with the early clearance dominance in this third term. Bonner. Sinclair. Cox v Membry. Durham v Hill. Owens is the deepest forward for St Kilda at the other end, right at the top left of your screen. You can see just about everyone on the field out there with that down the ground shot. The flick to Perkins, who was able to withstand the pressure. Draper, he just burst through, and once he gets going, Essendon fans usually get on their feet.
That would have gone through, I think. I reckon that would have gone through for a goal if he leaves it.
Yeah.
That was certainly the reaction from the... Oh, boy.
He's definitely going through, and he knows it too. And that would have been a team lifting goal.
McGrath and the juggle from Langford. Not quite. It might be McGrath after all. Yes, it is. They're starting to flow now. And they're starting to look a lot more dangerous going forward, Essendon. They're within 4.
But that's the high press. So your back pocket, your nominal back pocket is around the action. He's around the footy. And then the numbers just swarm. Look at the Bomber numbers there, outnumber St Kilda. A drop of ball. There's 4, 5, 6 options. It's a quality finish, but this is the investment in staying aggressive, staying true to what you want to be. They want to be a high pressing team and lock that ball in their forward half. Good finish.
Doesn't often get too far forward. Just goal number 20 for Andrew McGrath in his 137 game career. Getting plenty of the footy today, as he has through the first couple of weeks. 33 and 25 in rounds 1 and 2. And Essendon within 4. Owens, as the backup ruck, was never going to really compete with Draper. He can underneath though. He threw it, and it was about to be 50.
Yep.
Ross had sacked the slipper. Now he better give it back quickly. He's professionally delayed the situation. Merritt keeps it low. Draper fell over. Wilkie didn't finish it. Owens back through the traffic. Wanganeen-Milera, Ross eventually got it under his command, and then Hill cross half back to Steele. So some of the Saints leaders here sensing that they need to steady the ship and get them going again out of defence. Butler back for his first game of the season. Lost his balance, recovered. Super short to Ross to a contest. Kelly made sure of that. It's back in dispute. Butler. Advantage pay. Tossed up again for Membry, and again the Essendon defenders get in each other's way, and Membry takes the mark unencumbered.
He's got a good vertical leap off 2 feet, hasn't he? He likes that solid base jump straight up, and he was the beneficiary of a bit of work being done behind him. 1 against 2.
Caminiti.
Can he go back and kick the goal for them? 10 possessions, hasn't hit the scoreboard yet. Had a couple of opportunities that he's let slip through the fingers.
Right start to the season. 3 goals against the Cats, 2 against the Pies. Goalless last time they played the Bombers. And looking for his first today. And he's still looking.
Well, these are the misses that have really given Essendon a sniff and they've worked their way back in the game, and now they've got a problem on their hands, the Saints, because they didn't put them away when they had the chance. Didn't open up that decent break of 4 or 5 goals that they possibly could have.
2 goals, 6 from set shots, St Kilda. Kelly a bit perplexed. It's a middling kick on a reasonably dangerous line to turn it over. Free kick, though, is going Essendon's way, and Perkins gave it everything. Stringer just removed Bonner. No! It's a free kick and 50. Or at least a free kick. Essendon fans are prematurely celebrated. Bonner saying it should be 50.
Well, is it a free kick? He's holding his ground. Does he push him forward or just hold his ground? I think he's entitled to hold his ground.
He goes down pretty easily, Bonner, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's 50.
Yeah, I think the umpire's got that one wrong. Big penalty.
They're still out of kilter, the Bombers, even after all that time, and the Saints are able to utilise that well.
And here's how you can turn it into a 2-goal turnaround. Seb Ross, go back and kick the goal. This is a critical kick for the Saints. They've missed opportunities. Now you get one taken away at one end, an opportunity to score straight away at the other end.
That's a huge call.
50-50, we see them all the time. They get paid both ways.
Not sure Essendon fans are agreeing with that statement, Jace.
The veteran, he'll know the stakes here. They're high and the kick is high, and more importantly, it is straight. And the Saints lead by 11. He was able to block out all that Essendon were throwing at him. Let's have a look at the Bunnings build up to that goal.
That's not a big push. He just leans on him, doesn't he?
He certainly made sure the umpire saw it.
Yeah. Wow. Oh, he's entitled to lunge forward because he knows that he's done either way, but this is too easy in the end. When you've got a lot of time to reset, if you're behind the ball as an Essendon defender, look at Ross standing in the middle of the ground unopposed. Well, that's dangerous space right there.
Seb Ross, not a big goal kicker through his 200-game career. It's number 34. A very, very timely one. He's shoulder to shoulder with Zach Merritt. This time it is the Essendon captain that got his first hands on the ball. Durham high.
Oh, he's hurt himself. Yeah, I think he's hurt his shoulder here.
Oh, yeah. He's a tough unit, is Sam Durham. But he's struggling to get up.
Head hits the ground when he goes down, doesn't it? Lands on the shoulder and then the head hits the ground. Let's hope he's okay. With a body on top.
Yeah.
He's holding that left shoulder though, isn't he? At that initial stage.
Nick Hine, the sub, warming up on the sidelines as we speak.
Now he's holding the right shoulder.
A tackle like that, everything hurts, Hutto.
Yes. Fair point. Essendon ball, Heppel for Dersma. 11 points the margin. It still feels tantalisingly close. Possession footy, and now they go. Redmond on the angle. Jones flew but doesn't complete it. Ross just paused. He had nowhere to go to, and now he's going to be booed by the Essendon faithful. He got someone else to be the villain. And it's over and out. 2 goals to each for the quarter.
7-1 the clearances in favour of the Bombers this term.
Draper the tap. Jones trying to send it St Kilda's way. Wasn't the perfect handball to Ross. He had a lot to do. Along the wing, Laverty in front. Ball's under there somewhere. McGrath couldn't connect with Merritt. Wilson, it's hot. Hard to handle it cleanly for all comers. And it's out.
Hold the meter.
Draper to the front. Jones carved out a path. Not easy to mark that. Heppel, incredible courage. The fist came anyway from Cox. Parrish wanted to make the handball worthy. Hobbs down the line to Draper. Too tall and strong. Wanganeen-Milera did enough. Wilkie, Marshall. Hands had to be rapid fire. Sharman couldn't handle it. He runs over Perkins. Play on again. Sliding in Draper. No legs taken out. Play on the call. Caldwell. The ante is upped here. And we'll have a ball up just outside the 50. Langford back in the goal square for the Bombers. Jones versus Parrish underneath the two rucks. There they go. Hobbs couldn't shake off Windhager. Wilkie, an awkward one to grab, knowing what was coming.
Roll up. Roll up. No freeze.
Langford comes up to the contest, puts his hand up.
Kyle, Ron.
And he is going to take the ruck. And be beaten by Marshall. He tackled him. The ball jolts out. Leaves the Saints defending grimly. Bonner. This is where Draper had stood rather than go for the ruck. Helps McGrath send it back in. Now it's coming back out. Sinclair in the air. They eyed off the switch. Wanganeen-Milera has the weapons to affect it. Filippo rolls onto the left. Windhager vulnerable for the spoil. But Marshall backed up in deep. Young Wilson's in the clear again. Mackay leaves his man, sensing the danger. Dersma, the wingman, couldn't get it over Caminiti. Goes again with a tackle. Picked up by Steele. Takes the kick out wide. And this is Wilson. Good looking kick. In front, Cox. No mark, no free kick. Jones is back there. Everyone has to play their part in the defensive team. And we'll have a ball up. No one on Higgins on this side of the ground, can you believe? Now he's being marked by McGrath.
Yeah, McGrath and Heppel have been the mainstays, although it has rotated that role, Hutter. They've given him a lot of space.
Philippou trying to twist and turn and manufacture something. Not easy going in there, as you can see. Martin out to Mackay. Bonner and Jones. Caldwell and Perkins. Battle. Stringer. And the atmosphere changes around Marvel. Hoping something to happen. Gresham made the spoil, but in doing so, on the flourish and the follow-through, the former Saint has given up the free to Sinclair. Bonner. Slowly along the line they go. It ends with Cox. Get to Sarah in a moment with some news from the Essendon bench. Parrish. A lot of faith in Hobbs, and it was justified as it turns out. Now this is a huge opportunity for Menzies. They're running hard forward of the ball. A fumble, an untimely one for Caldwell. Made the job so much more difficult. McGrath on the follow-up. Windhager around the coalface. The Saints are able to prevail. Wanganeen-Milera, a scorcher into the middle to Hill, which would have been the target. And they're going to get clear. Go now, Jonesy, if you can.
Nick Hind into the game with Sam Durham subbed out with that shoulder injury.
Thank you, Sarah. Cordy in some space. And they're through here, the Saints. Bombers are reasonably well structured ahead for the incoming ball. Can they deal with it? Well, Cox had his opportunity. And the danger lifts. Martin, though, purposeful to Hobbs. The give, the get back. And then the kick. To see what they can work through, can orchestrate further ahead from the stand-start Jones. He doesn't connect with Stringer. Saints leave it open for them. Now Sinclair shuts the door. And here comes Bonner again. Can someone complete a play? Membry, no. Mackay to Heppel. And they wind up through Jones.
Gee, they missed an opportunity. That Jones kick, the turnover before. They had two forwards on one defender. If he hits the target there, you get Kyle Langford alone running back to the goal square.
Up and under. Langford. Parrish. Absorbed. Hobbs. The numbers are against it. They can get it to ground. Menzies was a chance. They couldn't battle. And now the Saints on a reload. It's from 150 to the other at the moment. Haven't had a score for a little while. Cordy through Sinclair. And then to Windhager. They're going to that City wing again. Coming in on the angle. Bonner to Hill. Issues the instructions. This is where I want to kick it. Went short to Butler. Kept them guessing. Filippo denied. Good work from Dersman. The dangerous Higgins. Back again. Wanganeen-Milera. Fully loaded, but misses.
He's worked himself into the game really well. 16 disposals. 8 of those have become scores. His corridor kicking is a feature.
Yeah. Back to 12. Still 6 minutes remaining in this quarter.
They just can't shake them, though, the Saints. Credit to the Bombers. They hang in there. They find a way.
Laverty, little handoff. Martin. Menzies going to have to fly here. Caldwell well positioned. They had a wealth of numbers. Kelly, tough one for Gresham. Got to be hard, and Bonner equally up to the minute, up to the moment. And Riley Bonner, who looks like he's going to be a real player for them this year. A great acquisition. Off to Wanganeen-Milera and Hill. Those two, they have a wonderful connection. Obviously no Liam Henry today, who loves to play his part in that chain. Oh, Caminiti got out the back, kept his feet, kept his head, but kicks it behind.
How on earth did he get out the back of 3 or 4 Essendon players there? Well, it's just a matter of who's going to take the chances, particularly at St Kilda's end. They just can't find that killer punch.
It's become a game of basketball, up and back.
Yep.
It's got to finish at the forward 50 end.
No one's shooting any three-pointers at the moment.
Well, that's the thing, and the longer St Kilda continue to miss, the more Essendon will get the confidence that they can pinch this.
Great go-ahead attitude from Caldwell, creating havoc. The kick from Gresham was perfect for Langford. That's a bit of Essendon edge stuff. That's what the coach wants. And this is the all-important kick now.
Isn't that a big day, Gresham? But if he can do a couple of things to help the Bombers get over the top of the Saints in this last quarter and a bit, he'll feel good about his performance. A beautiful little set-up pass there.
Bombers 3 goals, 1 from set shots. The Saints are 3 goals, 6. And we all know that can make all the difference. And who wins at the end of the day? Langford puts through his 3rd goal. And it's back to 7 points.
We're seeing a hell of a lot of scoring out of both defensive halves. Now, St Kilda have scored 5 goals, 6, bringing the ball out, and that's the 3rd goal from the Bombers out of their defensive half. They've looked more than capable, but it's just been that final kick inside 50 or through the midfield section that let them down.
Didn't take the mark, Jake Stringer, but he crashed the pack. He brought it to ground. That brought the numbers at ground level into play.
Yeah, then Caldwell took over from there. 3 to Langford, 2 to Jones for Essendon, 3 to Jack Higgins for the Saints. Probably needs someone else, St Kilda, to step up.
Won all 5 centre bounce clearances this quarter, the Bombers.
Can they win another? No one was quite sure who the free kick was for. No. It is for Goldstein. Marshall saying his wrist was being held and restrained. Little outlet kick was on offer to Kelly. Ignores that. Goes straight down the middle towards Langford. Covered by 2. Underneath Hind has the fresh legs. But Steele, watch out! Langford. No whistle. Jones back to Steele. It's been a low free kick day. Up goes Marshall. And it's over the line.
Gee.
10 frees to 7 for the day.
A couple of important ones, Hello.
Yeah.
Starting to get excited, the Bombers fans. They can feel something here.
Nice take from Parrish. He claimed the mark, Hind, but...
Yeah. He loves a debate.
Yes, he does. This time Langford doesn't come up and ruck. It's Stringer against Marshall. Scooped up by McGrath. Battle has to wait. Jones! He has the run at it. And he's such a danger in those circumstances. Well done, Stocker. Wilson, awkward. Got run over by Redmond, and then that might be insufficient. Yep, just look at each other and say, yep, affirmation. Dersma almost stubbed his toe on the kick. Back in for Martin, who made that up as he went along and will regret it now. Bit too cute there, the Bombers.
Well, there was no head contact there.
Yep.
It's okay.
Wilkie on the way out, but he's got to get ready to defend again because Redmond strikes it into the pocket for Caldwell. Jones, Stringer, Hine, they're all there. Goldstein's drifting down as well. But Jones is going to fly. Bonner underneath. Gresham, how he'd love to kick a goal now. That could have been a throw.
It has to be.
Not pay. McGrath retrieves. Kicks back again. Relentless they press, but relentless the Saints defend. Like Merritt got ball to boot. Everyone waits as the ball drops short with Sharman.
It dropped the ball onto Bonner's foot.
It was a team kick.
A team kick.
Yep.
So they're working hard here, the Bombers.
They're going to find some cracks in the Saints' defence. Bonner for Butler. Back to Wilkie. Possession 15 coming up. Owens couldn't, but Marshall can slap it on the boot. Mackay, sure hands. Parrish adapted well. Back for Redmond. Had space to choose either side, although Hill was a realistic live threat. Redmond again. No mark for Laverty. So that's a little mini win for the Saints with just under 90 seconds remaining in what is shaping as a titanic struggle for Brad Scott's Bombers and Ross Lyon's Saints. That clearance dominance for the Bombers and pivotal in this third term. Whole host of Saints there, they can sort this out. Jones realised it was just Goldstein in his path, so he gets a little closer. Owens versus Heppel. The Verdi from the side does enough. Nick Martin with 38 disposals with still a quarter to go. Seb Ross, as you can see, the highest possession winner for the Saints. Goldstein fell over, but not before he tapped it to Merritt. Phillipou Jones. Redmond tried the chest mark. The wickedness of the bounce almost did them there, Essendon. Merritt's hands were outstanding under the circumstances. Oh, Redmond has collided down there. Both players hurt at the end of that. Stringer takes the mark. Cooper Sharman certainly worse for wear. Along the line, Bonner challenging Caldwell. And it's out.
Nick Martin up to 39 disposals. It's a big number. It's huge. It just doesn't feel like it's been a super dominant performance though, King. Not enough of the kicks, I think, have really pierced St Kilda's structure.
Again, Bonner denies Gresham. Steele to Hill. Sinclair punches the ball forward. Dersma getting back where he had to fill. As the defensive wingman with only 10 seconds remaining. Job done. And the Bombers have won the quarter. And they are within 7 points. And what has already been an exhausting affair. Who is going to have enough gas in this last quarter under the lid at Marvel? It's St Kilda, an inaccurate St Kilda, 8-12-60, leading Essendon 8-5-53. as both teams look to go ahead of the ledger.
To the wire, the Bombers had their best quarter for the game, but they still trail the Saints by 7 points. A few highlights in that quarter that will have the crowd talking as well. Just want to note that Kyle Langford rushed down into the rooms just before with the doctor. He has run back out, so hopefully for the Bombers' sake he will take his part in this final term, because it is going to be a thriller. And Jason Dunstall and David King, if the Bombers aren't to win, well, their fans are going to be talking about one moment in particular, an umpiring call on Jake Stringer.
They certainly will, Sarah. It was a critical decision at the time, also because of the impact afterwards. Now, he goes to ground very easily, Bonner, and he's probably entitled to think that that's okay. He's off celebrating with the crowd, Jake Stringer. And then the 50-metre penalty is awarded, Kingy. And the disappointing thing here from an Essendon perspective is how slow they were to organise themselves and allow this to happen.
Yeah, spot on, Jason. They haven't led all day, the Bombers. That would have put them in front. I think they've been a bit hard done by there, but the lapse is costly.
The other thing I would say is sometimes a different technique would get the job done. So if Stringer, instead of using the hands, turns side on and just nudges his hip into the player to work him under, I think it's a lot easier for the umpire to say, "Yo, that's fine. I've got no problem with that. That's just a good little use of the body," rather than a push with two hands.
All right, what is going to determine the winner, do you think, in this last quarter?
Well, I'll tell you what, if the Saints don't start converting when they get their opportunities, they're their own worst enemy. Essendon might steal it from them. If Essendon can continue like they did in the third quarter with clearances, Kingy, that's their best opportunity to play territory in their front half.
Well, this guy there, Nasiah Wanganeen-Milera, has been sensational. His field kicking is amazing. He's pulling the ball back into the corridor as often as he can. And I think the Saints have just got to make sure they get him the ball. He will be the man to get them over the line. If he can hit targets centre forward, bring him forward another 30 metres. Can he go into the midfield? We see Sinclair go in there regularly for Ross Lyon late in game, late in quarters. Let's wait and see.
12 months ago, they weren't even sure if Kyle Langford was a forward or a defender. They know now, don't they? He's been so important.
He's a gun. And what you do know is when he does get it, he'll take his opportunity. 3-1. He's very composed in front of goal. A lot of confidence in his goal kicking.
Well, real buzz around Marvel Stadium for this final quarter. Easter Saturday afternoon and early evening. Saints in front, but just as Merritt grits the teeth and gives Essendon first look. Hind inserted, playing forward. Jones gets it back to him. Stringer, it's an intersection, have got through. And Kyle Langford, he just knows his way around the forward line.
He read it better than everyone else. A couple of them ran underneath it. He led his man to where the ball was dropping. Good work from Jones to get it over the back too.
As we've said, it's been an Achilles heel of the Saints today. Not so much Essendon. 3 goals won. It wasn't his best connection, it has to be said. Just seemed a little tentative on it.
Well, that's a rare miss for him. Yeah. Composure in front of goal. We've seen it decide games already this year. It happens so often. If you don't take your opportunities when they present, you're going to be in trouble.
Straight down the middle. And Stocker leaps to take the mark to justify the kick.
It's a good little hanger too.
Hill to the outside, and now Marshall. Here's another look at Liam Stocker's grab. Not renowned for that, but it's a nice one for his highlights tape. Mackay puts a halter and then hands it back. Hill. And there's the young man on debut, the sub. We'll get Sarah to explain in just a moment, because Bonner is trying to fearsomely deliver for Owens. Scooped up by McGrath. Tentative handball. Bonner is trying to wave his way through straight away and get involved. Up towards full forward. Martin doesn't mark. Left it there. Cox. Hind in an awkward position. Drops the footy.
We'll keep talking about moments and opportunities. Riley Bonner on that occasion, he runs to 50, tries to pinpoint a pass, maybe set sail and kick the goal. It's a beautiful kick at the footy.
Yeah, Angus Hastie is on, Sarah.
Yes, and Sharman is the tactical sub.
The young man, last year's draft from Geelong. What a time to come in and make your debut. speedy defender or wingman. Ball just bobbled around. Heppel the first to get it under his control. And this has been a really promising game from Jones. He's got up the ground a lot more, hasn't he, really, and got involved on the way out. Martin, possession 40. The most ever for an Essendon player is 44, so he's on target for that, but it matters little now. St Kilda attacking. Caminiti worked under the ball, and that one's okay. Oh, that's not. Mackay's kick, partially smothered. Merritt, they crowded him out. A lot of work to do for Heppel. Some heavy lifting. Owens threw the head back. The umpire not buying it.
Geez, a big ball, wasn't it? He attacked the ball there. Owens.
Just a couple of times he's kicked off one step, though, Ben Mackay, and turned it over. He's got to be a bit more precise with his kicking.
Good hands from Kelly, and they do release it. Merritt. Cordy reaches over Langford. Back up from Wilkie and Stocker. Something happened off ball here, but it was a St Kilda ball, so they're allowed to keep moving. And Hill crisply to the wing. Steele had a long look. Redmond was trying to hunt him down, but he got it forward to Caminiti. And that's what this young man can do. Got the long arms, and he can take a grab.
Good option from Jack Steele. He ran his full measure and got it long to the tall option, running back to the square with a matchup that suited. Now it's up to Caminiti to finish.
Yes, he was just able to get that launch area a little bit closer to goal. Made the right call. Just works through the process and put it right through the middle. Caminiti gives St Kilda a 12-point buffer.
He's in everything, Bradley Hill. He's involved in every transitional play from the Saints. He's had a huge day, just keeps on keeping on. Almost 31 years of age, but you wouldn't know it.
Ran his full 15. Jack Steele, nearly 20. Good run. Good mark too. And a good finish. He's not natural on the left foot. It looked very mechanical and robotic, but he got it done. He's practiced it, and he's done it under pressure.
Kicked his second. Both of them have been very valuable in a game where they're precious, and they remain so. Free kick out of the middle, and it's going St Kilda's way to Jones.
They'd lost 9 of the previous 10 centre bounces.
High from memory. It almost leaks out the back. Redmond. Steele trying to apply the pressure on Merritt. And he was able to get it safely to McGrath, and then to Martin, who wants to give it back to the vice-captain. At least that was the message he was sending. Now he wishes he did. He really wishes he did. Caminiti, quick handoff. Saints pressing again. Owens leaps. Owens can't mark, and I'm pretty sure Owens had the
first grab on that.
Mackay, he sold his case nicely with the umpire, didn't he? Merritt. Well weighted. Oh, boundary umpire not close enough to overrule Dersma, who picks out Hind. Then to Cordwell. Kick mark here for Essendon is the method for now. Stringer wants it down the line. Cordwell decides to go towards Draper, who drifts but doesn't mark. Marshall flings it out to Hasty. A handball. They're not clear yet. Cordy, Windhager, Cordy, Hind pressing. The knees are up from Hind. He's on the move to full forward. Stringer's just waiting in case they falter. They don't. Wilkie back through the middle. Steele coming one way. Merritt didn't overcommit. Did it well. Not once but twice, the Essendon captain. Punches for Draper. Marshall closes. And chopped the arm. He can't believe the call. What's Draper going to do? Does he go big here, Draper? He tried to. Lags into the pocket. Langford, so much opposition. And it's out of bounds. Langford's not happy with that.
I think he touched it inbounds, but completed the mark over the boundary line. Oh, doesn't control it until he's over the boundary line.
Rolling.
sure how the boundary umpire sees that, though.
Kyle, Essendon ruck. Kyle, Josh, clear out.
That'll have to be careful there because
I don't understand why the umpire has to tell him to clear out. If he goes in the ruck as well as Marshall, it's a free kick to Essendon.
It's a free to Stringer for a block.
Can't block him off the ball. Come on.
You can't block him off the ball. Well, I thought you could.
Stocker.
It's a fascinating call if he's not the ruckman.
Oh, it's a big kick, though. He feel he got robbed at one end. Now he gets an opportunity at the other to kick this one and get them within a kick.
For his second. It just crept over the outstretched hands of Rowan Marshall, but it was there. And Jake Stringer has his second. Let's have a look at how it happened.
Well, I don't mind that, Kingy, because with all due respect, Stocker's not looking at the contest. He's got his back to it. And all he's doing is defending. All he's doing is grabbing a man that's not within 5 metres of the ball, that's trying to run. We disagree on that one.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
But it's game on. This centre bounce dominance by the Bombers has been quite severe. It's had a massive impact on this game. Territory now is a premium.
It's a cauldron here at Marvel Stadium. Both sets of fans doing their best to play their part. Jones trying to give them vigour out of the middle, ran into a dead end. And he feels hardly done by, but Perkins was ready. So it's Essendon who trailed by 6 points. Archie Perkins. Here comes Draper. Made the contest. Wilkie to Cordy. And that's on the floor. So from a slow play, the Bombers and the Saints can get set here. Nick Martin doesn't need any help getting another possession, but he's going to as the nearest to the pin. His 41st disposal is a beauty. So Langford.
Take the shot or top of the square, Jason?
I'd trust this guy to take the shot. Now, it's a low percentage shot, but he's a chance of kicking it. There's not many others are.
3 goals, 2 for the day. Kyle Langford became their spearhead last year. He's in a similar position right now to tie things up at Marvel Stadium. It won't be a goal, it won't be a score. And again, the Bombers chant rings out, echoing around Marvel Stadium. Draper all over Owens. Didn't get out Caldwell. Hine puts a tackle on, constricting the Saints' defence and locking it inside. A heavily populated forward 50. Someone wriggled free. Windhager was prepared to kick it, even though that was dicing with danger. Heppel, the gather, Merritt into the 50. It was a cute little kick to Hine, and it was just far enough, despite the protests eliminated from Seb Ross.
Someone's got to guard the corridor. If he plays on and runs to 50, you've got to have another Saint there as the man on the mark has to stand.
On the fly, you'd think Hine would be a chance from here.
You'd expect him to take off, Kingy.
Here he goes. Out to the right. Can't get it to come back. Draper and Jones. It's down to 5 now.
Gee, someone collected the goalpost. It's a heavy collision. You see the nerves now. Mistakes costing a premium. This is where you want the right players, those that have composure, that make good decisions with good skills, in control of the footy.
Mackay muscles. Caminiti out of the picture. Takes the mark. And that's good delivery for Hine. Now Draper into the pocket. Can't mark. Still alive. Battle all over it. Draper's almost dived on it.
Again, they're dominating territory, the Bombers. They're playing it at their end.
Undersized ruckman here. Got to take advantage, the Bombers.
Draper tries to grab and go. Owens was ready for it. Parrish. Hasty battling it out.
So he's got to hit this corridor side. Clear the area.
Yeah.
Tried to grab the last one, didn't quite work out.
Perkins is ready on the outside if he can do that. Oh, nullified again. Bonner. Hasty dives. So did Merritt. Heppel flipped it up. Here it comes. It's Perkins to behind. They are pressing and pressing, and the Saints are holding them at bay for the moment. They've got to find a way out of defence now. Just under 11 minutes on the clock. Caminiti versus Mackay in the air. Merritt and Heppel, and in between them Higgins. And the boundary. I wonder what the sense of this is in the box. And the coach giving much away. Goldstein back out there now. He grabs and hands it off to Merritt. Hobbs can see a way through, but it meant giving up some territory. I don't think he was ready for that from Mackay. Saints everywhere. Higgins, Marshall, watch out! Dersma! These are desperate times. And the measure from Dersma was the rundown tackle, and it was perfect. Oh, the kick wasn't. Mackay, no reason to panic though, plenty of space. Although Martin comes to a halt, and then Laverty still inside defensive 50.
42, Nick Martin now at his own footy.
Orders are issued. Down the line. Goldstein. Old Goldstein takes a very important grab. Back to Mackay, who gives them away to the other side, where Dyson Heppel is ready and waiting. Good menu of options. He goes for the longest. Stringer allows Caldwell, and now it's all clear. Hind in the square, but easy pickings for Battle. It's that finishing touch the Bombers are lacking now.
And the last couple of times, they've gone to a contest in the pocket, low percentage, get it in the dangerous area. Get it back into the corridor.
But they are circling here, Essendon. Again, it's from a stoppage. This time it's Essendon outsized with the ruck. Stringer and Cordy in a standoff. And the experienced premiership player, Cordy, takes it out. Old premiership teammates, those two, at the Bulldogs in 2016. Crowd of 44,000. None of them have left. Gresham with the handoff. Dersma. The sky ball. We wait. Jones came out. Marshall batters it away. McGrath, this high press. Caldwell with the up and under. Menzies trying to track it. Stocker, where is it? There it is! Menzies got it!
Quiet day, Joe Menzies, just the 4 possessions. This could be the one, though, that puts the Bombers in front. There is a crowd waiting to explode. They'll tear the roof off this joint. They are trying to get their Bombers home. It's relentless pressure. The ball is living at this end. You've got to make it count while you're dominating play.
For a straight kick. Oh.
Straight into the post.
Straight it was. Oh. Football back at fullback in dangerous hands. Not a conservative option even from Wanganeen-Milera at this stage. 8 minutes remaining. And off goes Cordy along the wing. From Marshall, Caminiti. Taken by Jones. There's no way clear for him.
They'll take that, the Saints. They'll take a stoppage on the wing. They've been under siege down back.
Hobbs. Hill intervenes. Sinclair perfectly weighted kick. Got the dimensions just right for the captain.
That's what we talk about, composure and the right players with the footy. That was beautiful from Jack Sinclair just to buy some time.
Ross back into the middle. It's a battle. They get organised through Bonner. A straight line towards goal, but that wasn't what the Saints forwards were hoping for at all.
He had Wanganeen-Milera all on his own on the outside on the far forward flank, Bonner, if he had have looked.
Cox stepped in, then to McGrath.
They're playing with greater composure here, the Bombers.
It's the key word right now, Kingy. Who can manage it? Who can execute under pressure here?
McGrath decides the time is right. Stringer. And Cordy right with him every step of the way. Good diligence in defence from the Saints. Jake walks away.
8-3 the stoppages in the last quarter favouring the Bombers. They're well and truly on top this midfield.
Just under 7 remaining now. Caldwell. McGrath. Heppel eyeing off the corridor. He just hesitated. Higgins coming charging up into play, but the Saints win it. The Bombers win it back. Laverty just over Martin's head, and it changes again. Bonner held without it. No whistle. Butler, the umpire in the road of Higgins. The ball goes to McGrath, and now to Heppel. Essendon wide up again. Caldwell's had a big last quarter, and that is precision.
2 turnovers from both teams presenting opportunities, and now it's Jake Stringer who'll bomb away from outside 50. It's just going to take a special kick, something to set themselves aside from what we're seeing. So many players unable to execute under pressure with the game on the line.
Last year he rolled out the Easter Sunday barrel. This is the Easter Saturday drop punt, and it's just as good, if not better. For the first time this afternoon and this evening, Essendon are in front. They have timed their run, and with under 6 to go, they are ahead.
He's a unique talent, Jake Stringer. There aren't many players in the competition that kick that. Not from 55, not late in the game when you're tired, game's on the line. Look at this ball. That's a magnificent kick. Hasn't been a big day for him, but it's only a couple of moments that'll decide this game, and that might be one of them.
It's a big day now. He's kicked 3. Plenty of time, but the Saints have got to find a way to win it around the ball. Steele trying to lead from the front. Hill untimely with a slip. Merritt, Martin, Langford v Wilkie. Prolonged tussle and battle in the will with the Bombers. Kelly in his 150th. Goldstein and Menzies at either size range. Off the pack, Wanganeen-Milera. Stringer to smother. Oh, it could be Gresham. The ex-Saint. We're delighted in that.
Well, they've got to take some risks now, the Saints.
Yes.
This game has flipped. You've got to think he's going to bite one off here. Take it.
Bonner favours Marshall. Draper plays defender and plays it well.
Well, Brad Hill's not happy. He was ignored. He was wide on the boundary at half-back looking for the kick out. Bonner ignored it and went long to the contest.
Marshall to the front. Dersma Marshall just in hope. Martin, possession 44. Merritt's had plenty of it as well. His 27th back to Redmond. Hands to his head.
They've got to find a way through this Essendon press now, which has been terrific in the last 30 minutes.
What's been exciting, though, as this unfolds, King, is there's no loose behind play at either end. There's been even numbers.
What can they construct here? Steele. Little handoff to Hasty on debut. Along the line, Owens. Fully committed was Mackay, and he's feeling it now. A heavy landing for him. Got to get to his feet, though. Burns. Equal numbers, as Jason said. The lunge from McGrath was effective. It was directed to Gresham, to Hobbs. The stretching handball to Merritt. He looked up, he waited, and he tried to hit Goldstein. He failed. Big Goldie gets hands to a Draper. The two ruckmen in the slowest of motion. Now he puts a tackle on. Where did he find the reserves for that? It's Stringer again. It's coming, everyone. No, it's not. It changed its mind mid-flight, the ball. It changed its mind.
Well, it's just crept his way to 10 possessions, which isn't a lot, but he's having a big impact now, Jake Stringer. Game on the line. He's got 3. If that was his 4th, it might have been enough. You think if they get the next one, Essendon, it's going to be very difficult for the Saints, King.
Wanganeen-Milera, a little nudge was a good one. Memory, but open it up for Hill. Clear passage ahead. Goes short for Owens. Burns is an unlikely target. The wingman, one defending, one attacking. Dersma does enough, and they are able to salvage a behind.
That's not the inside 50 you're looking for. You get the short pass to hold it up, to look for an option streaming inside 50. Turning and bombing is not the way to go.
Dersma in pain.
Might have popped a finger, perhaps. Spoiling, tapping it over the line. He's done well. It's a great effort.
Redmond from the back pocket.
He's got to get the ball out of here. It's too early to wind the clock.
He's hurt his arm, maybe.
Might have to get him off, because they're going to be a man down otherwise. Only 3.5 to go.
This is good. This is good. Take what they give you.
Travis Cloak trying to get him off in a hurry here, trying to get that extra man on.
Trav will just go out there and drag him off. No dramas.
Carry him off under his arm.
To half forward. Here's Bonner. 2:42 now. Critical contest. Owen fully committed, but off the pack it's Merritt again. He's been heroic. Down along the line. Stringer is there. Menzie. Draper. Marshall. Ross. Oh, was that a handball from Langford? Didn't look like it. Jones to his feet. Stringer again. And Battle takes the mark. Across the last line. It's a long way from home. From the deepest, darkest defence, and that is out on the full. The Saints have only 1 goal to show for this last quarter.
Pressure and fatigue. It's a tough combination. Players just throwing the ball on the boot. An errant kick there with time.
They haven't finished them, though.
One more precision kick from the Bombers and they win this.
Hobbs skies it. Jones, Menzie, Langford, Hasty, Hill. Wanganeen-Milera. Oh, Hasty. That could have come off anyone's boot. I think it came off Kelly. And they're going to have a conversation about it.
Geez, there was nearly another little throw there as well.
St.Kilda's footy. Thank you. Ben, foot on the line. Foot on the Ben. Foot on the line.
Kick.
And it opens up some real possibilities for Ross, who has to shake off Merritt. Now he can indulge in a bounce. He goes short and safe. Owens posts up. Back to Wilkie. Everyone's got to get involved in the offense now for the Saints. They're only 4 points down. They've got the half forward. Ross with a critical kick. Membry can't mark. Laverty did well. Filippo from the boundary. From the boundary, and it's out on the floor.
They had extra numbers in the corridor. St Kilda, they had more forwards than Essendon had defenders.
Find a mark here.
Yep.
Did I mention the tension? A minute 14. McGrath, Stringer. It's not a mark, Harry. He gets the handball off to Parrish, who dribbles.
That's deliberate. That's deliberate.
That will come back.
I think that's all right.
With a minute.
A slow free kick gives them time to set up behind the ball. This has to come corridor.
But plenty of time on the clock for the Saints.
Exactly a minute. Draper needs to defend. He's able to take the mark. What a luxury that is for the Bombers.
Where's the spread? He's got Mackay if he wants him. He's gone now. He's got a kick in the pocket.
Every precious second allowed he takes. Then kicks in the Stringer direction. He can't mark. It's over and out.
You just said take what they give you, Kingy. He's got a loose man in the back pocket. You chip, you take another 10 seconds off the clock.
37 seconds.
They've got to charge the Saints. They've got to just take all the risks available.
Membry, Butler, gone forward. Filippo, eyes to the wing. Owens, the undersized ruckman. It's a free kick.
Massive.
Out of zone, umpire makes a very big call. Ross can do nothing. It's Essendon's to lose. 22 seconds is all that remains. Redmond along the wing. No mark there. Hobbs can't get past Ross. 5 seconds. They're going to hang on, the Bombers. The Essendon edge. If that's what it means, then the Bombers fans will embrace it. They've come from behind for a memorable Easter victory. Performance from the Bombers. St.Kilda led by 22 points in the second quarter. And Essendon waited till late in the final term to hit the front. A lot of numbers for Ross Sloan to digest.
It's a victory for persistence. They just hung in there. The Saints had opportunities, didn't put them away. They looked in control, but didn't put them away on the scoreboard. To their credit, the Bombers, they found some clearance dominance in the second half. That enabled them to start playing the game in their forward half, and they just worked their way back into the game.
Let's get to Sarah with one of the heroes for the Bombers.
Jake Stringer, what a game, what a win. How are you feeling right now after what was a grind?
Oh, amazing feeling. To come back and win that was amazing. I got a special shout out to a couple of boys, Ori, Tanner, Camille, their first game of footy today, coming down to support me, so I appreciate it, boys.
Talk to us about your goal. You kicked over there. It was a low percentage kick, but a man of your talents just seems to get it done. What was going through your mind?
I was pretty confident. Outside 50, Langer said the other week only Pete Wright had the licence to go for him, so I backed my own ability in there, and look, as soon as I hit it, I knew it was going in. And, yeah, sorry, Langers, but got to do what you got to do.
It paid off, that is for sure. Talk to us about the persistence of the group today to stick true to your game plan, even when things weren't quite working.
Oh, amazing. I mean, at the start, they jumped us. We were turning the ball over, they were killing us. And then probably halfway through that second quarter, our pressure really started to ramp up, and the game sort of started to look how we wanted it to from there. And to the boys' credit, we nutted it out the whole game, and I think we only hit the lead with 3 minutes to go or something. So, and then to hold on was amazing. So couldn't be prouder.
It doesn't matter in the end, but there was quite a controversial free kick against you. The ball went up the other way. It was a bit of a 12-point turnaround. Did you feel as if you got the hands in the back?
It is what it is. I didn't hear the umpire. I was too busy celebrating, and then, yeah, when he told me it was 50, I was flat, so I had to run a bit more. So, but lucky we got the points in the end.
Well, a brilliant performance from you today. Congratulations and happy Easter. Enjoy.
Thank you. Happy Easter, everyone.
We've got Nick Martin with us here today who, well, I think you've got leather poisoning. That was an extraordinary performance from you today. You just seem to have the football in the strings. How are you feeling?
Yeah, over the moon. To get the result is just, I'm so happy.
44 disposals today. Talk to us about how you were able to work yourself into the contest and just keep showing up.
Yeah, well, I think my running ability is sort of my asset, so to get around the ground, cover some kilometres, but sometimes the ball bounces your way, and tonight that was for me.
The press late in the game was what got you the win, and it was so strong. Tell us about what Brad's message was at halftime about sticking true to that style.
Yeah, I think we wanted to bring the heat. I think St Kilda are a great contest side, and so are we, so we wanted to bring that pressure and make it tough for them, and I think we did that tonight.
Pretty awesome atmosphere, a big crowd for Easter Saturday. How can playing in games like this, when you've got the crowd behind you, really catapult the team? I mean, there is a real vibe in the air tonight.
Yeah, it's so great when the Bomber faithful come out to Marvel, pack it out, and you can see how much it lifts us, the atmosphere, and yeah, they were great tonight, and credit to them.
A lot of talk about the Essendon edge, and it didn't quite work against Sydney, but do you feel like you brought that intensity tonight? Yeah,
it's us in the contest, like I said previously, and our ability to hunt them in the contest and tackle hard, and I think that's what the edge is about, not this ruffle tuffle stuff, but it's hard in the contest.
What about Jake Stringer's goal? It was superb. He was saying that we thought Langford had said that it was only Peter Wright that had the licence to go for it. Surely a man of Jake's talent gets to go for those big bombs.
Yeah, he's a man of many tricks, Jakey. I think he's got the licence now to have some bombs, for sure.
Will you get in there and enjoy singing the song with the boys and have a great Easter?
Thanks, Sarah. Appreciate it.
Cheers, Nick.
He equalled Darcy Parish's Essendon record of 44 disposals. More importantly, it's a second win of the year for Essendon, who are now 2-1, and conversely, the Saints are behind the ledger at 1-2.
It's a big performance. We talk about getting ahead of the ledger when you can bank wins early, particularly one that looked unlikely at different stages, particularly in the first half. But this is great reward, and they're the sort of things that a coach like Brad's got to love when you're trying to preach a message and you finally see some fruits of the labour when it pays off at the end of a tight one like this. That's the most reinforcing thing you can have for your players, is to actually get reward for effort, King.
Yeah, I thought their midfield was brilliant today. I mean, the captain was very, very good all game. He finishes with 30. Parish comes back in, has 26. They just had such an even spread through the midfield that they put the Saints to the sword. In the second half, they won the clearances 23-10. 9-1 out of the middle. It was just a territory dominance, and in the end, the Saints back six. They wilted under constant pressure. It's a big victory from nowhere, really. This is something you can really build off.
Entitled to enjoy this one. The Bombers fans love it. The players are thrilled, and they deserve to be.
Yeah, what a great win it is for Essendon. Going down to Sydney last week after winning the opening round against the Hawks. And back at home this afternoon and prevailing over the Saints in an exhausting affair at Marvel Stadium. They get to sing the song. The spoils of victory.